See, coming up, I ain't never really had no vision. I was told time and time again, you're gonna be just like your dad. Shit. Maybe it's true. Maybe I am my dad's son. But where you come from should never dictate in life to where you trying to go. See, I was the life of the party. Till the party almost took my life. Motherfuckers get lost in the sauce, man, and by the time it's too late, God had already destined his fate. I know people had things to say when they heard a white boy from Salisbury started doing music. Rapping at that. But if I cared what people thought, I'd still be that lost guy. Lost in the sauce. Now I done leveled up and I'm feeling like the boss. This is my life story. Let me take you back. I am a village boy. My name is Cody Allred. I'm 27 years old, and I'm from Salisbury, New Brunswick, born and raised. Right now, I told y'all I was bringing y'all a little piece of content. So I'm shooting this little doc. Shout out to my boy, Lil Parker, behind the camera. Right now we're at a spot I grew up at. It's my first crib. As you can see, don't live here no more. Neither does my mom. But this house meant a lot to me, man. That's where I obviously took my first steps. Drove my bike up and down this road. It's in the country. We about maybe 5 minutes outside of Salisbury right now.
So growing up in Salisbury as a kid, how was it?
It was all right. You know, it was a little bit small, obviously a smaller community than Moncton, so kind of everybody knows everybody type deal. Got a beware dog sign on the thing, so we might not want to go too close, but yeah, it's a nice piece of property, man. My mom and my dad met here, obviously. So we just at another location. This is where I used to live with my dad. This house right here, I was probably 6 or 7, 8. It's the house I found out my old man was sick. I actually had to go for a double lung transplant. I remember they paved this driveway. This driveway used to look like trash. Used to be a barn back there. Definitely looks a lot more cleaner than when we lived in it though. My aunt used to live over there. She had a house we used to just walk over, go for parties and stuff like that. But yeah, man, I just was into sports, a lot of sports growing up, skateboarding. I played baseball. Played baseball for like 12 years. This one. First team New Brunswick to win the Mosquito Provincial Champs. That was a big deal. I played basketball. Obviously basketball, everybody sees it in my videos. Most valuable player. 2013, shout out to O.
Yeah, so my name is Matt Ogilvy, and I've been teaching at the school for almost 25 years. So Cody and I built a relationship more as a coach-player relationship, not necessarily a teacher-student relationship. So yeah, so that's how I know Cody. Cody was my starting point guard for me.
My name is Tammy Constantine, and I'm currently the principal here at Armstrong High Salisbury Middle School. So I have known Cody since he would have been in grade 5, so probably since he was been about 10 or 11.
As a basketball player, very smart, knowledgeable of the game, and probably some of the best handles of a point guard I've ever had. I remember Cody would pound the ball so hard into the court that you always knew when he was in the game.
He said that, well, was he in trouble, and how often would that have been?
Cody and I spent a lot of time together. Yes, we spent a lot of time together. So was he a frequent flyer? Probably, you know. Some years he did better than others, right? There's no question that sports helped keep him motivated, right? And helped him stay like on track. So sports were great for Cody.
So right now we at the school, getting ready to shoot a little bit more content. This is the gym. I put a lot of hours in, man. This gym, I feel, in my opinion, saved my life. Kept me out of trouble. It was the only thing that kept me going to school, man. And if it wasn't for Mr. O and Tammy Constantine, I probably wouldn't even have finished school. I was into some bad stuff and didn't even care. Wasn't trying to listen to nobody. But this right here, this kept me grounded. This gave me purpose. Even though I knew I might even not make it past this gym, this gym gave me so much hunger. And I use a lot of passion and grind that I do with the music from this gym right here in Salisbury. Standing in another spot I used to lay my head at with my mom. People that are local in Salisbury, they know this bar right here. It used to be called the Big Dog Lounge. I don't even really know. I've never even been in this store in my life. My buddy behind the camera said they probably sell some leather boots in there. But anyways, man, I grew up here with my mom. This is where I became a man at. That's where I started getting good at basketball. I used to skateboard. Me and my buddy used to skate that little ledge right there, come down that ramp, and hang out on that porch back there. When my mom was downstairs drinking, I used to go on that porch real quick and smoke my little weed, you know, before she knew what I was doing and shit like that. But yeah.
Cody would be somebody I would know more as knowing, having street smarts and not necessarily book smarts. I think Cody, as a student, you know, he had a different kind of education, and so in a regular classroom setting, sometimes not necessarily his thing, but it didn't mean that he didn't have the ability to accomplish things as a student.
And I think for Cody, what type of student he was depends on what kind of day it was, right? He was having a great day, he was a great student, but if he was having a rough day, you know, it's harder to stay focused on your schoolwork when you've got a lot on your mind.
So you had previously told me that both your folks were sick while you were a kid and that you had to fend for your own. Can you explain what that means and the difficulties that you faced growing up?
Yeah, man. So the people that don't know my story, they know that both my folks were sick growing up. My mom had a kidney disease basically her whole life. I was kind of young when she got sick, but I remember my dad had something to do with his lungs. He had a lung transplant. So yeah, man, as young, I kind of like, I don't know, I became real young because of that. Or I became like a man young. I had to fend for myself and knew that I had a different story than everybody else. A lot of people couldn't really relate to me and stuff like that. I never really like talk about certain stuff, but.
Were you ever aware of certain things going on in his home life, like his parents being sick or drinking, smoking underage, things like that?
Yeah. So Cody and I had that type of coach-player bond. Even after Cody left school, we've stayed in touch. And I knew a lot about what was going on in Cody's life. Cody had to grow up really fast, and that's not easy on any kid. And I know he was always very concerned about his mother. So a lot of the conversations we had was about his mom, his mother's health, and him just doing right by her and trying to help her as much as he could.
You ready?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, just as a disclaimer, before we start, I had nothing to do with these questions. I didn't write them. Cody wrote them all. So anything that you may feel uncomfortable or not want to speak on, just say next question and we'll skip right over it.
All right.
No issues, no worries.
Okay.
This is all what Cody chose and wanted for the video. So
Okay. My name is Debbie Lounsbury. I am Cody's mom. He was born on March 8th, 1995 at the Moncton City Hospital. He liked attention, even when he was young. So but when he got it, he was pretty content. He was a happy baby. He got a lot of love.
I was premature. I'm not sure how early, but I was. Can you explain the problems you had with your pregnancy?
Okay. He was premature. I did smoke a little. They had me down to 1 a day back then. I was on bed rest for the last 3 months that I carried him. My blood pressure was really, really high, so he wasn't getting any food. So at that point, they wanted to put me in the hospital, and I said, I have a cousin that worked in maternity, And I said to her, if he's not getting any food, he's been in there long enough that we can take him out. I was right. Like, she took off and said, I'll be right back. She come back and said, we're going to the maternity ward. So they tried to induce me so I could have a normal birth, but he was in jeopardy at that point. So that very night, and he was fine. He was in the incubator for a little bit. He had to stay in the hospital an extra 6 days, I think. But he was never alone. We were always with him, and we'd take turns going sometimes, but I didn't want to leave him. I didn't want to leave the hospital without him, so I was there a lot.
He said that his parents always made sure that he had money for sports regardless of their finances. So was it tough for you and Cody growing up?
Yeah, it was. It was really tough. I had to go on social assistance, which was not easy, and try to keep him in sports, and it was not easy, but my family helped. My sisters wanted to see him in sports. I always thought that if I got him in sports, he'd stay off the drugs. That was my big thing.
In your opinion, if you could go back in time, what are a few things that you would change?
If I go back in time, I would definitely learn to be a kid and still enjoy kid things. You know, when I was 15, 16, I was like walking around thinking I was an adult, thinking I already had life figured out, and you know, I thought I was this fucking big bad guy. But once you learn, once you get out of the sauce, some people get lost in the sauce, but once you get out of that mentality, there's way more to life than just getting fucked up, man.
Having him in sports, and for that reason. So I was happy. I was usually the one getting up every Saturday and taking him wherever he was going, so.
Can you remember what age Cody was when you first got sick? And did Cody understand what was going on at that time?
Cody he was actually, when I went to Halifax to get my kidney transplant, he was 7.
So, Mr. O saved my life is a quote that he was talking about before this interview.
Wow.
And he was saying that he would be in jail or wouldn't know what to do with life if it wasn't for you. So how does that make you feel, knowing he's saying that?
Incredibly special, and very privileged, and I know that you know, for my relationship with Cody, it's one of the examples of why I got into teaching. I always tried to make sure that I prided myself in seeing past what other people see, and I knew that Cody you know, had value, and part of my job, I feel, with him, and maybe more so with him maybe as compared to others that I've taught or coached, is I know that to help him grow as a man, and to be that type of person, to be resilient, and you know, he always had that fighting spirit in him. I think he just needed somebody to, you know, to stand with him and make sure that, you know, he's more than what people perceive him as.
And he asked me, "Are you gonna die, Mom?" And I said, "You know what, Cody, I could, but I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna."
So moving on to something a little more positive, can you tell me what year you started making music and what inspires you to do so?
I'm Jay Gould, man, from Moncton, you know. Yeah.
How long have you known Cody?
I've known Cody for ever since I can remember, probably 10 years plus, something like that, yeah.
So I started making music 2016. My buddy Jordan Gould, shout out to Jay Gould, man, he introduced me. We were actually just fucking around. I always used to freestyle with my buddies fucking around and shit. And one day we were just writing. We were like hanging out all night, getting drunk and stuff. And he's like, "Yo, man, let's get some studio time or whatever." So we cooked up this song. We went to this professional ass studio and we we got it done. We didn't even have enough money to do the song, but buddy helped us out or whatever.
Cody said, I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for JG. He told me you started him rapping. To hear that, how does it make you feel knowing you inspired him to do this?
That feels pretty good, man, you know, because, you know, I always try to push people, like, you know, he was messing around freestyling one time, and, you know, and I heard he had some talent, so, you know, I like to push people that I know that have the rhythm and everything, so, yeah, for sure, yeah.
What do you think of the music he's doing now?
His music, man, is top notch, man, I tell you, like, if anybody's doing anything around here, like, he's pushing, he's doing his thing, you know, and, like, a lot of people, you know, lack that, and he's doing good, man, he's doing great.
Did you ever think that you'd become a musician, and more specifically a rapper?
Hell no, man. Hell no. I still get the amount of eyes I get. Like, we know where we're at. I'm from Salisbury, man. It's like a hick town, and I'm literally. I think part of the reason why I have some views on me is people like to clown me and shit. You know, oh, look at this fucking guy over there. But at the end of the day, man, I love it. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm outworking a lot of these rappers, a lot of these artists, and yeah, it's only up from here for sure.
What do you plan on doing with the opportunity if it is ever granted to you?
If the opportunity is ever granted with me by the grace of God to do something with his music, I plan on helping out my family. Everything I'm doing is for my family, man. All the long night sacrifices. I plan on helping out my community any way I can. I'm the type of guy, if I see somebody outside of a store, I know he's struggling, I might go get him a bottle of water, granola bar. That's the type of man I am. So if I had some real money, I'd be able to, by the grace of God, do something real for the community, for the people that are really struggling. And of course, take care of my friends, man. That means the world to me. I made promise to people, man, if I ever did something for real, I would get them out of the streets. And I hope I plan to keep that promise.
I'm prolific, so gifted. I'm the type that's gon' go get it, no kidding. Breaking down a swish in front of your building. Sitting on the steps feeling no feelings. Last night it was a cold killing. You gotta keep the devil in his hole, but you know how it goes. I'm front line every time it's on. 100 proof flow, running shoot pro. 458 drop, playing bulletproof song. Every few shows I just buy some new gold. Circle got smaller, everybody can't go. Downtown Diamond District, jewelers like yo. Hustle, holla at me, I got Cubans on the low. Through the Cancun, smoking Cubans on the boat. Then dock that Tulum just to smoke. Look, listening to music at the Mayan ruins. True devotion on the bluest ocean. Cruising, my cultural influence, even revolution. I'm integrated vertically, I blew it. They tell me hustle, dumb it down, you might confuse them. This ain't that weirdo rap you motherfuckers choose to. I'm a urban legend, South Central in a certain section. Can't express how I curb detectives. Guesses, evidence of a divine presence. Blessings, held me down at times I seem reckless. Effort, got an L but got an E for effort. Stretched it, dropped him off in the Mojave Desert, then left me. Ain't no answer to these trick questions. Money making nip, straighten out my jewelry on my...
You ain't gotta run, I don't want no love. I was thinking we could kick it, maybe have some fun. Never biting what they ever say about it. Always steady grinding on my shit, dawg. Ain't with all the games that they try and play. So if you feeling what I'm saying, put your hands up. Yeah.